In this video, we're going to go through the actual import of a schedule into the Blue Sombrero website. At this point in the process, you have created your schedules in the spreadsheet, deconflicted each of your dual coaches, and you've created the game templates on each of the individual tabs. In the last video, since we're using 5 boys as our example, we created our game template and we created our practice template by saving that to a second page and sorting properly by splitting out the home and away teams and then dragging them in. We then saved this guy as a CSV file. That's what we're going to actually use to import. So once we've done that, that's what our spreadsheet looks like as a CSV. And what I've done on this one, because I want you to see what the errors look like sometimes if it's not correct, I have actually changed the field name to something different so that it'll force an error when we get to that point. But when we look at our CSV file spreadsheet before we do the import, we want to make sure, again, one last time, that the information is correct. In the sort order column, we want to make sure that we are numbered 1 through whatever in order of the number of games that we have, or practices in this case. In the round number column, we want to make sure that each week is separated by number, week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on. We want to make sure the teams are there, obviously, that our date and date format is there properly, that our start time and end time are correct, that our location and our field names are correct as well. So again, in this case, our field name is incorrect, and we're going to watch that actually fail for us when we get into the schedule itself. So once you get ready to do your actual import, we're going to go to the website and log in with the appropriate credentials and go to the schedules page. We're going to go to add a new schedule, this green button right here on the right hand side, and it's going to pop this choice window. In our region, pairing and either of the pairings is not going to work for us because those are more round robin, single location, no variable schedules. So this would be great if if it's not, it just doesn't work in our region. So leave those two alone. We have to do an importing because we have dual coaches and we've taken all that time to set things up in the spreadsheet. In this part of the wizard, we're going to give this guy a name. In this case, we're going to call it the 5U Boys Practice Test. I'm calling it test because we're not going to actually post this. We're just doing this for the sake of the video. Your program, in this case, is core because we don't do United. We don't really do VIP. So we're only going to pick core right here. And we've designated this on the website previously as we went from season to season. The activity type is always going to be soccer. The division, we're going to go ahead and pick U5 Boys. Sometimes if this doesn't pop the division as a tip, just change the program to United, then change it back to core, and then your divisions will pop. This is a 5U Boys division. Now, make sure you hit the Add Division button and that it ends up over here. The reason being is that there are cases where you could input a schedule that had more than one division in it, like 19 boys and girls, since they're pretty well integrated, and you want to make sure that both divisions are in there. In this case, 5 boys is what we want to see on this side. And then the schedule type. You have games and practice. In this case, we're doing a practice. It's a different format for the spreadsheet that, as you recall, we've already changed our practice schedule to show everybody individually, versus the game schedule actually shows the home and away team columns. So we're going to select practice. Now, this is important for practices. The number of concurrent practices needs to equal the number of practices available for each day. In this case, we've got 6 teams, and so we're going to have 6 practices that can run concurrently. And make sure that's a big number. Normally, that will help out. Okay. Then we're going to go over here to this button on the left-hand side, and that's going to open up our file window. We're going to search and find that CSV file. We make sure we're grabbing the right one because we're grabbing a comma-separated values file of CSV. Again, 5U Practice is the one we want, and we'll click Open. It'll highlight here on the left-hand side, and then we're going to hit Import. Now, we're going to see some errors. I'm going to show you how to deal with them. So when you hit Import, 2 things will happen. You'll either see Import Successful right here, and we'll see that here in a minute as we fix things, or you'll see the error messages. And as you can see, the field name does not exist. Okay, so we're going to go real quick back to our spreadsheet, again, the CSV file, and we're going to fix the name of the field to an appropriate name. Give it a save and go back to our website. Now the good news is it's already saved. It's pulling from the same file. All I have to do is hit import again. Okay, we've got another good error. Team 1 name does not exist. Okay, now in this case, we're going to see this sometimes in the older divisions if a team doesn't exist because it's from 1447 or 671. Now, just for the sake of the example, in this case, what we're dealing with is our team 1 actually is incorrect in this case. Okay, so that guy is referring to team 1 in row 7. So 10506 is incorrect in some way, and we need to go back and fix that. Maybe the team number's wrong, maybe it doesn't exist, but you'll need to repair that before moving on. Okay. Now, in this case, let's pretend, for the sake of this video, that this is a U14 or a U19, and Team 1 happens to be a guest team from another region. This checkbox over here on the right-hand side, consider as external team. What this checkbox does is it overrides the team name error and allows it to populate the schedule. So we're going to pretend that Team 10506 is actually a team from outside of our region that we've brought in to join the division. So I'm going to leave that checked off just for the sake of getting through this. Okay. We're going to hit save and continue. Now, what it's going to do, it's going to list my teams and show me that external team that we allowed through. It doesn't have a division or a program because it's not a team within our region, but it's still going to leave it on our schedule. So that way we can see all the teams that came through. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That was what was on our spreadsheet. And then I'm going to click Generate Schedule. When I click Generate Schedule, it's generating it from the spreadsheet that we imported. Now we can see all of our individual practice sessions, where they are, which field, and I can edit these individually right now if I want to, but again, we're taking this from our spreadsheet, so we already know that this is correct. We're going to verify that all of our practice sessions or games, depending on the import, are there and correct. So I've got 48 practice sessions. If we go back to our spreadsheet, we have 48 practice sessions. So we know that we're accurate. And then we're going to hit save and continue. Make sure you always go to the bottom. In Blue Sombrero, there's always more than one place to save. So as this guy catches up with us here, actually we're seeing another error. That's what's great about this system, is that it will actually show you errors. Now, in this case, the reason that we're seeing this error is because I'm trying to import a practice schedule when I've already got the fall practice schedule already set up. Let's pretend that we want to fix this and actually put in spring dates. Okay, so because we haven't saved this entire schedule yet, we can actually repair this, and you can do this at each step when you have an error. We can come back here and we can change our dates, resave our spreadsheet, and then go right back over here and redo the import in step 1. We're not going to do that right now because the next step, if this were actually correct, would be to come down here and save and continue. We're not going to do that because of the conflict, but that's all you have to do the import. You're going to save and continue, and on the next screen, there'll be a save and finish. And then your schedule will then be imported, and you'll be able to see it here on the Manage Schedules tab. And as you can see, if we scroll down, there's our 5U boys practice schedule. And now we can edit, view it, see it on the calendar, post and unpost. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. And we actually can archive and delete. Going from right to left, to archive a schedule means that it is still visible in the background and you can't schedule things that conflict with it. Keep that in mind, and you'll see errors just like we just saw when I tried to import this 5U boys schedule. If this one, the real one, had been archived, you never would have been able to do it. We have to delete if we're going to actually override and put in a brand new schedule. And we'll talk about that in another video in terms of other errors and conflicts that we can run into. So I would want to delete. But before I do that, my next one over, post and unpost. If I unpost this or post it, that triggers an email to the families in that division. To post, we'll send an email that says your schedule is posted, go and check it. Here's your link. If you unpost it, it does the same. Your games have been canceled. So be careful about doing this and make sure you set expectations with everybody, because as you go through multiple changes of the schedule in the first couple of weeks leading up to game one, this is going to happen a lot as we go back and find problems and issues that have to be fixed. But at the end of the day, before the schedule to be posted, you need to make sure this shows unpost, because that means it's actually posted. If I actually needed to change something, I can edit it. I can come back in here and actually, if I wanted to, let's say this team was incorrect, I can click edit and actually change that team number. And that is how you import the schedules.